Please, with a resounding clap and even a standing ovation, let's welcome our first facilitator, Sir Francis Ajilore. Is that how you celebrate your facilitator?
Good morning. Please, let's have our seats. I don't like too much paparazzi, being too official. But thank you for honoring me, and I believe the same grace that worked for me will work even at a faster pace for you in Jesus' name. Francis Ajilore is my name. Privileged to be an executive director at LifePage. Privileged to pioneer quite a number of other businesses. And I was still sharing with someone that my first attempt at business was about 20 years ago. So if I'm this young, you could imagine how young I was at the time. And I was able to attract top management people in Globacom and Nestle at the time to invest in my business. But guess what happened? It failed, but I call it failing forward. One of the benefits of being part of this program is the fact that you'll be mentored, and it avails you the opportunity to avoid some costly mistakes that some of us have made in the past, so you could get it right at once. We call it school fees, but mentorship allows you to avoid paying such expensive school fees, because cost of funds are even more expensive than it was 20 years ago. So it's really not about me. It's about giving back. It's about seeing people become a lot better than the way we met them. And I want to thank the leadership of the church, our pastor, Pastor Oladipo Clement. Thank you for this opportunity. I want to thank the chairman of the GSAP 2024, Sam Orija. Thank you so very much for the quality job you've done. I want to thank our overseer, Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. He has built champions. You know, a leader is not known by their own personal success stories. It's about the other people that they've also groomed. And I foresee you all becoming great leaders of industries in the coming years and months to come in Jesus' name. So, please kindly project just for the benefit of everyone. So I'll be speaking on a subject that I enjoy a whole lot. And I'm not somebody who is good at theory. So if I'm not that exciting, but you come to a result, I'm cool with that. So it's something I've lived for, I will continue to do, and it's very crucial for each and every one of us. But I tagged it, people or money, what do you see? People or money, what do you see? For me, I see money all the time. You can see people. I see money all the time. So it's the art and science of converting suspects into raving fans. It's the concept around converting your network into your net worth. So use any terminology. The fact still remains that money hides in people, and your ability to solve those problems is what ends up creating money for you. I'm trying to use official terms. POC, that's Pastor Clement, already said that if you don't make money, you will borrow money. And if you run out of people to borrow you money, you will steal money. So if you don't want either of the previous ones to happen to you, then the ideal thing to do is to start making money. So as a way of introduction, what makes you an entrepreneur? Because why do I have to lay this background? Acquiring a skill set is Bagada Skill Acquisition Program is the core of it, right? But if you acquire all the skills, but you don't know how to convert it into making money, is a skillful broke person. Recently, I was somewhere, and sometimes, people want to be famous and all of that. And I told someone, I said, I don't want to be famous. I just want to be wealthy. Not just for myself, because we've been taught that the pipe, if you pump water, and the pipe that you use in transporting that water, does it run dry? So the more I continue to have, and I continue to be a blessing, it will just continue to flow. I will always remain wet. I will always remain relevant. So our host, Pastor Clement already said that we're a kingdom church, and that's the software that runs inside of us. That's part of the things that we have become. So why am I laying this introduction? Why am I laying this foundation? It's because, one, acquiring that skill is not sufficient to make you thrive in the market space. Have you come across people who know how to do things, who teach people? Do you know of people who finished with first class, but they are broke? Do you know of people who have master's degree, but they are broke? Do you know of people who have PhD, who are broke? Do you know of people who teach business administration, but they are broke? They can't run a business. That's the more reason why this aspect before the skill acquisition is very important. And that's why this component that I want to take on today is also very, very important. So what makes you an entrepreneur or a business person is not your ability, it's not your ability to own a business card. It's not your ability to have a CAC certificate. Some people, the moment they register a company, they post the certificate online. They cover the registration number. That is not what makes you a business person. That's not what makes you an entrepreneur. So, can I meet you? This is my card. That's really not what makes you that business person. That's not what brings you that income. So, your proficiency, I want to also shake the table a bit. Your proficiency in terms of your skill set, you can solve problem very well, and not necessarily the prerequisite requirement to run a business. Neither does it mean you are wired for one. So the fact that you are very skillful, you are a software engineer, you are a web designer, you are a photographer, doesn't mean that you are necessarily wired for business. The fact that you've gone through a training, you not only went through the training, but you are good at what it is, what you've learned, doesn't make you automatically meant to be an entrepreneur or a business person, as the case may be. So, what really then makes you that business person? It's your ability to create value and solve existing and future problems in a continuously evolving world whose desires are insatiable. This is done by way of creating products and services. So if you can sing very well, you can sing very well. It remains an hobby if you don't know how to convert it to a CD. If you don't know how to convert it into to be on iTunes, to be on YouTube, it remains an hobby. The whole idea about the 22nd century CEO is not people who are just passionate. Passion without result leads to frustration. Where you can quote all the things, but you don't have results to show for it. Third class citizen may be better off than you. So, we take it again. Your ability to create value and solve problems. So that skill that you possess, how can you use it to solve a problem? I remember while in school, one of the reasons why I loved statistics was that from my year one, I was able to see, because that was about the same period 20 years ago when I started my first business. I was able to see how I can use it to review what I was, what I was doing, the business I was doing. I was so young that the people I was presenting, they couldn't believe that those things were coming from me. I had a partner who knew those people, but me, I was the engine room. So they were always looking at that person to be the one who can deliver the job, but he can't answer all the questions that they choose. So, but when they saw that I had answers to it. So one of the reasons I loved statistics back then was the fact that I could use it to gauge the progress I was making. So what's the essence of learning chemical reaction that you can't produce anything with it? So your ability to have a skill, to be proficient with the use of that skill, is not all that is required. What is most important is your ability to use it to solve a problem, to create value. Value is something that enhances what is already existing. And I went further to say there is always, Pastor Clement said earlier on that there are, when you see other people see problems, you see it as opportunity. So what's the existing problem that you are solving that make you more of an opportunist in that context is an existing problem. But you don't, one of the reasons why some people are relevant, products like McLean were relevant at some point in time, are no longer relevant today. I can't remember the last time I saw them on the shelf in the supermarket. It's because they dealt with the existing problem back then. But as an entrepreneur, you should begin to think of solving even future problems. So while in this class, what will make you different? People don't buy you for your similarities. They buy you for your differences. So while some of the things that are being taught are addressing current problems, you should also take it as part of your responsibility to say, what will be the next problem in the next 5 years as it relates to this skill that I've acquired? What will be the next major challenge in the next 10, 15 years? And that should help you to, know that, one of the things that we've learned is that before people even graduate from the normal conventional tertiary institution, the cycle of things has changed. The society is evolving so fast, such a way that what you graduated with is no longer relevant. There's an updated version. If you use an iPhone, possibly in every 3 months to 6 months, there's also always already an update. So that's the same thing that happens. So most of us have learned things based on how it was relevant back then. But we've refused to evolve, whereas time has evolved. A number of things have evolved. So think future problems in a continuously evolving world. Your taste bud, the things you used to love before, the way you used to like ice cream is not the same way you still like it. So if your taste bud can change, what makes you feel that the person you want to render a service for, their desire has not changed? So you need to be ahead of time. This is done by way of creating products and services. So having examined all of this, if you don't create a product and services around it, people would get it for free because they know that you are passionate about it. And like we always say, the day you say you are passionate about something, you have lost it. Passion is contagious. Passion is something that people can see. You are not the one to tell people that I'm passionate. So because you are passionate about it, people will likely approach you and get all of those things for free. So you can't command an invoice. So your ability to create a product and service around it makes you to be able to command an invoice to initiate a transaction which revolves around this thing. So the next slide, please. I want everybody to see that. Your expertise. Let's read it together. Your expertise or acquired skills remain an accessory if you do not deploy it to the end user who needs it. Let's take it again. Your expertise or acquired skills remain an accessory if you do not deploy it to the end user who needs it. So what is this? A mobile phone. What is this? If you do not put it inside current and switch it on, what happens? Will it charge? So most of us are powerful people. Powerful but not plugged. Power has not been discharged. So will your bar remain half or low or full if you do not deploy it? I need response. So it will remain the way it was or low. So, and that's the experience of most of us. We don't want a repetition of what has been happening prior to now. And that's why we are taking you through this phase. To say, you will get the skills. People who are thriving in the industry are some of the people who are taking you through these programs. Your willingness, your commitment is needed there. But more importantly, after becoming very powerful, what do you do with it? Is it the fault of the charger if they don't put on the power button? Is it the fault of the charger? Is it the fault of the device? It is because you have refused to activate it. It's our responsibility after this series to activate all that we will be loaded with. So it's as good as having a powerful gun without a bullet. But now you even have bullets, options, cartridges, everything on ground. But if you don't activate it, it remains that you are carrying a powerful weapon. So why is this subject matter? I need to begin to run very fast. Why is this subject matter very important? You are not and will not be the only skillful person who can provide the same solution. So I'm sure there's no group today that will have just one person in it. So you will be at least two persons in a particular group and possibly more. So after empowering yourself with such skills, you already, without even looking at people outside, you already have competitors amongst yourself. So the subject I'm going to be looking at, where I talked about people or money, what do you see? That is where you begin to carve out your own niche. You will be able to see what will work for you. So you're not and will not be the only skillful person who can provide the same solution. The competition for what you offer is plentiful. Permit my vocabulary. I also went a bit further to say people buy from those they know. So there are people that some of you already know. It's different from who the people in your community, in your group will already know. So people buy from those they know, they like, they trust. So what's your trust? What's your trust coefficient? Are you resourceful when it comes to trust? It's one of the key things that will play. Then, but more importantly, the people that they constantly see. This is an upgrade. That's why I said I'm not a theoretician. I have to sit down. How will I want to deploy, or how do I do most of the things I do? So people buy from those they know, they like, they trust, and constantly see in their faces. So if people don't constantly see you in their faces, you may be good, but another less skillful person may appear in their faces more often, and they make buying decisions from that person. And perceived by many as being right. So having followership is not a bad idea because its perception is real. It's like reality. So the next point, data and statistics are to your advantage. You can take out time to Google in the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, jobs that will still be relevant. Many years ago, I told someone, I said, even if I venture into pure water business, he said, I will make profits. I will succeed. If I go into charcoal, I will succeed. So it is not about the venture. It is about understanding that the subjects that we want to really look at helps you to be relevant no matter the industry. So it's regardless, so you can even collaborate with somebody else in another skill, what have you, in this program. Because of this skill that we want to look at, you can equally still be making money across board. So if you can sell, you are likely to always have a job or business. So the summary and the foundation of what I've been talking about is something that a lot of people don't like to do. It is to sell. It is to sell. So, next slide, please. So don't just keep it on your shelf. Don't just peg it there and say, people will come and buy. Up your products. The whole foundation that has been laid is to help us see the relevance of critical components to thrive and to run a business. So you don't need to have this piano to be able to sell this piano. Your skill set to be able to market it and sell it can make you collaborate with the owner or the producer and get it to the end user without your own capital being directly involved. You can leverage on your skillful set of selling to be able to expand your business and achieve a lot of results. So I went further to say, I will strongly advise that if you don't possess it personally, because it's not everybody that has it. Everybody has the potential for it. But if you don't possess it personally and by proxy, don't dare to venture into business. So what I mean by that is, if you come up in the course of your training, you build relationships too, you network. But you know that somebody else can talk more. So both of you are learning the skills. It means that both of you, instead of saying, I want to stand alone, you can say, I want to partner. This person will be the one talking for us. I will be the one doing the work. He can also do the work and he can explain. So if by proxy, we are encouraging everybody to possess that skill. But if you can't possess it, make sure you have somebody on your team that can sell. If you don't start that business. It has failed before you start. I said it earlier, it's not your certificate or your business card that makes you a business person. Your ability to sell is really what makes you a business person. And that's why oftentimes I don't like CEO title, I don't like director title, I call myself a sales boy. As long as the money is intact. It is made legitimately. Yeah. Pastor Tim already told us that money gives us options. Yes, I love to have options. I want to drink Gary because I feel like drinking Gary, not because condition has bent me to a corner. So, marketing and sales, I'll run very fast now. Marketing is everything you do from conceptualization of an idea. So when people hear marketing and sales, they think it's just to carry out. But from the moment you begin to conceptualize that idea, to refining it into a product or service, evaluating if there is a need for it. So the fact that you have acquired a skill may be relevant in 5 years' time and not relevant now. Doesn't mean that you go out and say you want to quickly do a business around it. So is there a need for it? Evaluating if there is a need for it. Who needs it? How to get it to those who need them, and not without factoring the possible satisfaction that will be derived by the end user, and most importantly, a possible repeat process. Because if all you do is, I have sold it, you are not thinking of when next they will need it, how will the funnel continue to be filled up, and a repeat process, then you will soon be out of business. It will be said that you once reigned, you were once relevant. That is not what I want for myself. So, and that is why that cycle needs to be factored on a continual basis. So, next, please. 10 vital facts about selling. 10 vital facts about selling. We'll run very fast. No one likes to sell or to be sold to. So that's the reason why a lot of people don't want to do it. But that is where the money is. It's your ability. If you say the product is to solve a problem and to add value, why should I be scared to sell it? So what most of us don't do is, because we're mentally lazy, we don't want to decipher what the solution really is. Because that is what you pitch to people. So people buy benefits, not features. So if you've done your due diligence, you won't be selling the features. You'll be selling the benefit, what that thing can do for them. People will already be seeing that, you mean I don't need to get to the airport before checking the weight if my baggage is overloaded. So something can help me check it from the comfort of my home. I've assessed it and it's in good shape. So what that freedom that they won't have to go through that stress, that everything can go on seamlessly when they get to the airport, is the reason why they want to buy. Not that, yes, it shows the weight of the decision. No, they are selling the feature. Buy real estate. What does real estate do for you? It helps you to create, retain. Pastor Clement said, optimize and retain wealth. So that is what you should be selling. What is that skill? What does it do for the person who wants to patronize you? That is what you should be communicating. Knowledge has a direct impact on your sales ratio. So when you know more, your sales ratio will continue to improve. So in way back 2012 to about August 2013, I'm sure I possibly didn't sell, I operate within the real estate space, and I didn't sell products of up to 20 plots of land. Whereas the moment my knowledge scope improved, people were not seeing it outside yet because I was not driving a car yet. My shoes were still, ad punk, But the moment I developed that capacity on the inside, the knowledge base had increased. In 3 months, between September 1st and November 8th, 2013, I sold 138 plots of land. Whereas for a full year, more than a year, I never achieved that. What changed? Your knowledge base and has direct impact on your sales ratio. So when you speak to 10 clients before, after acquiring this skill, they may first buy out of empathy. Okay, let us help our brother. And maybe you just have 1 or 2 customers occasionally. But when you deliver optimally, your sales ratio begins to improve. So sentiment and logic both play the game. So, which is what I just said earlier on, that sometimes people I remember an elder brother of mine who bought land from me at that point in time in 2013 and said, I will interpret our land motira, the other one. That means I bought from Ola the other time. Let me also patronize it. So it was out of sentiment. But the same brother along the line, when I improved my learning rate, my learning capacity, my knowledge base, it now became more of consultation. This is what you need to do. So I was no longer that person that he knew, that he bought from. I don't know if you get the point. So sentiment and logic play the game. So people first buy on sentiment, but later begin to buy on logic. What will this thing do for me? Not just on, I want to patronize you because you say you are a digital marketer. How many other digital marketers? What is the solution that you bring to the table for me? How will it enhance my own business? That's the reason why they'll be buying subsequently. Educational selling rule over sentimental selling. Sentimental selling has an expiry date. So somebody buys out of the fact that they are dating you. It has an expiry date. Because over time, knowledge of self, product or service, and company or brand and prospect remain a variable. So, if I know you, sir, today, because you are wearing the blue and the glass, a shade, and tomorrow you are wearing a green and without a shade, and because of that, I don't recognize you. It doesn't change who you are, but it is me that can't recognize you again. I can't meet your need. But, sir, what's your name? Mr. Adeyemi. But your name intact. Will your name is Adeyemi today. Will it be Adeyemi next week? Will it be Adeyemi next year? So, the knowledge of product or service is a variable. Knowledge of company and brand, because they are variables. Those are variables. So, but what you should focus on more is the constant. So, more focus should be given to the fixed and known, not the variable. And that variable is yourself. Know yourself. Know yourself very well. So, and per product or service that you render, know that fixed component of it, and you will always adjust the variable component from time to time. So, the fixed could be yourself, could be your knowledge of selling. The products, and you could have products, basket full of products where you sell health products, but you also provide consultations. Those are variables. But the constant is that you know yourself and you know the skill that you can sell very well. So people buy you before they buy your product or service. So how you're seen goes a long way in how well you sell. So if you carry a very good product, but your packaging is not good enough, the chances are very high that you will be disregarded. You will be, and the moment your customer begins to perceive you as someone they want to help, then you have lost it. You have lost it. Next is passion is a game changer. Call me tomorrow. to come and strategize, to come and sell, I will always be excited about it. So, in case you need to change what you enrolled for, please, I will beg the organizers, change it. Let it be somewhere that you will find, you won't, they don't need to whine you before your passion is activated. Because there will always be low moments in any business. Your passion is what will keep you going. So passion is a game changer. So don't trade it for anything. A good product is the one that has quality and comes at a good price. You know, we established earlier on that competition starts immediately. Within your group, much more that we compete in a global world. You know, the advantage of some of the skills that we are doing here, there are things that you could be in Nigeria and be earning in dollars. They could be paying somebody else who lives in the US $4,000, but they don't mind paying you $2,000 because you are in Nigeria. So they don't mind giving that job. So your ability to have a good pricing, to be able to compete favorably, is a game changer. So 1% of something that is working is better than 1% of something that is not working. If you have a accumulated customer base that gives you 1% on 1 billion, is it not better than getting 25% of 10 million? And they come consistently. The other one of 10 million, the business can shut down. So, pricing, quality, don't say because they paid you less, you now do something inferior. Do much more than you were paid to do, and you will begin to earn much more than you keep doing. Credibility and delivery sells itself. Your ability to deliver on promises, to go the extra mile, to deliver to a customer, is already a future market waiting for you. It is already a sales done in advance for you without having to do a new pitch. I have clients who call me from time to time. I have this much of money, this much of money. Have you seen a lot? Some people don't even call me when they credit my account to say, get this thing done, get that done. So, in the same era where you are saying there is protest, August 1st, what have you, we are the season that some kind of money we are coming in. In 2020, in the course of NSAS, we were building 31 units of apartment, and I sold and I made the money that I had never, if you merge, since I was born till that 6-month period, I made much more. So you don't have an excuse. So always deliver, it paves way for you. So 5 levels of selling. I'll run through this as we begin to wind down. You have the stage of being a suspect. Mr. Adeoye, right? Adeyemi. Oh, I'm not good with names. It's not like selling. You're not selling now. So, Mr. Adeyemi, if you've never seen my flyer, or if you've never seen me on the flyer, you've never seen me here, if I approach you, at the moment let's assume you are walking on one side of the road, and I'm walking on another side, and I'm approaching you, you begin to say, is it that you increase your pace, what have you? You perceive me as a suspect. The moment I say there's one land, there's one opportunity, it has, you say, they don't come again. Not them. So we're first suspects. Then, but if I build relationship and say, Mr. Adeyemi, good to meet you. Oh, you still remember me? We met at a place, what have you? We meet again, I say, oh, let me have your number. We gravitate towards being a prospect. We become prospects. Then we take it further to becoming a customer. Most times, people we call clients, it's my client. The person has only done business with you once. They call the person client. You never reach. So you gravitate that relationship of being a prospect to becoming a customer. So in your journey of this skill, your suspect, you can give them free tasting. Who don't like better thing? I will render this service for you for 1 month for free. Let's see how it will grow your business. I'm already giving you a strategy to penetrate into the market. You give it to the person. You volunteer yourself to come and work in an organization. If you add value during that period, even if it is transport and mineral money, they will give you. But in your CV, That place, you render that service for free. You put it there. I worked in this place for so. I intend in this place for so number of months. The experience, you will realize that it is more than just the skill that you have. You should have actually been the one paying them. But you've had the opportunity to go and make mistake with another person's business and not expose yourself. I just gave a free bonanza. But, so, you can use that at the prospect and suspect stage. Then you now begin to now have your own customer. You now show the job you do for that company where you volunteered. You can now say, this part of the job we did. You have things to show. So, one person chooses to give you a try. You now say, listen, you treat them very well, you deliver. If you have to work late, you deliver. Then the person now chooses to say, I want to do another purchase. He now becomes your client. When the person becomes your client, is because you are consistent with delivery. When they are your client, they don't want, at first, when they remain customers, they say, okay, maybe it's just that one-off. They become a client when they've done repeat business with you. At that point, the trust coefficient is growing. So they now have confidence. Beyond saying they don't want, if I'm the only one that will lose, they were not worried before. But now, they can carry your matter on their head and now become a raving fan. They now become raving fans. And that's the 5 levels of selling. The way we used to see selling before is just to just run up and down. But when you understand this thing, you will be able to now translate that skill you've gotten, how you could transfer it to people or to use it in getting your customers. So we are all called to sell. We are all called to sell. That dream job that you have or that you once had was because you sold. You were able to convince the employer, I am selling to you as we are here. Whether you like it or not, I'm selling to you. The way you possibly perceive me before I mounted the stage is different. True or true? I didn't even give you an option. So, every leader sells. So your president, your governor, they are selling. They're selling it. Parent sells. Mr. Clement said earlier on that if you give birth to twins and you put one in a rich environment and you put one in a poor environment, that they grow up differently. What did they do to them in the rich place? They sold an idea. They sold a lifestyle. They sold that anything is possible. The other one, they sold it is government. It is to blame. It is to criticize. It's to say, let's just find something to shy it. In all things, give thanks to God. So teachers sell. Mechanics sell. So is it a skill that the mechanic, I deliberately introduced the mechanic. It's a skill that the mechanic has. But why is it that somebody will buy from him, patronize him more than they buy from him? What is the packaging that made the person leave being a roadside mechanic to becoming a well-packaged mechanic? Your ability to sell. He possibly saw himself beyond just being a roadside person. He repackaged himself. We said earlier on that people buy you before they buy your product. So we, however, do not commensurate value or cash because we aren't intentional about it. And so how many of you have introduced a tailor to someone? How many of you have introduced a mechanic to someone? How many of you have introduced a bank and say, no, Stanbic, one reliable. Have they, OPay. OPay may even be paying. I don't know. I never used OPay. But, so they are paying referrals. But the other banks that you have, before the advent of, have they ever paid you for talking about them? No. If you enter into Standard Chartered. I remember when I was using Standard Chartered, I said, I can never have dollar issue. When I need foreign currency, I can never have problem. Because it's a foreign bank. It's a kidney con. Did they ever pay me one day? So what we are saying in a nutshell is that you won't command cash. Cash won't gravitate towards you if you are not intentional about it. So what should be the game changer for you? Even if you were never intentional about selling other people's brands before now, your own skill that you now want to learn here, we are saying be very intentional about it. That concept of they would think because I want to make money. If you don't, the person will end up still buying that house, will still end up buying that clothes, and somebody else will make the money. So do your part. Be more intentional about selling, and you will, by extension, convert your relationship into cash. So, and this is where people or money, what do you see? Are you beginning to see it? So if you are intentional about it, it will be people, but at the same time, you are seeing money. You are seeing money. If this is not church, what I will have carry all of you to come and do for me. I will have sold. So you have to be very intentional about it. Tips for selling as we wind down completely. Oh, something is missing. Okay. Yep. So identify your target market. Identify your target market. So I said it earlier on that the people buy from those they know, like, and trust. So start from the low-hanging fruit. Who are the people that know, like, and trust you? That you don't have competition over that one in this community. That is your own low-hanging fruit. That is what boosts your confidence to even say, yes, I'm on the right track. Make a long list of them. Prepare proposal to send to them. I'm running very fast because of time. Visit potential customers informally. It's not every time you should be very serious and just say, Uncle Sheikh Bagbe, hope you didn't forget what have you. No, I came to say hello. I was passing by, even if you're not passing by. I came to the neighborhood and I felt the need to check up on you. Or if you can't visit them, you put a call through to check up on them. So that you build, that relevance before them. And it's not just about what you want to get from them. Send as many proposals as possible. Compress 3 weeks task into 1 week. Look, there's a lot of work if you have to succeed. As you scale up, the challenges, which I still had with Dr. Olumide yesterday, I had about a 3-hour session with him on, planning. Some of us are already in 2025 already, and we're discussing some things. When you also grow, the challenge is the likelihood that even one sphere of business that you are into continue to expand before you're very high. So you may also still continue to get busy. But there's a stage where if you do the work now, along the line, you won't need to work as hard as you are currently working at first. So compress 3 weeks' work into 1 week. Do a lot of work around it. Make use of your network. I already said that there are people, you check your phone. The more you see people who are very irrelevant, who it is only apropos gist, they are not going in your direction. The earlier you delete them to avoid distraction. Start your day early. Today, I woke up as early as past 3 and working on a number of things. I slept around possibly past 11 or thereabout. A number of things I don't want to even talk about, but these things are very, very important. Work every day. Work every day. The challenge as you become an entrepreneur, even your sleep, most times you'll be working. You will be working. But sometimes you have to, somebody just taught me or something, told me that I should say, shut down. I should tell myself, shut down, that the team will obey. So I'm trying to do that very soon. But work every day. Engage in effective follow-up. Engage in effective follow-up. So, my last slide. I hope I've been able to convince you, as against confusing you, that embracing marketing and sales is by far more important than having a title of a CEO. How many of you agree with me? Have I been able to convince you and not confuse you? And carrying a business card and a CAC certificate. Thank you very much for your time. Are there rooms for questions?